Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here today. I'm just gonna wait a few more minutes to make sure everyone is able to join us. I actually can't see how many people are in our webinar at the moment, but I just want to make sure that maybe we wait a few minutes before we begin. Okay. So I think I'm going to just get started. My name is Jessie Carell, and I am the founder and executive director of Hands-On Media Education. And it brings me great pleasure to announce the release and the launch of a new resource that myself and a small team have been working on called Home at School. This is a complete animation workshop using iPads for students in grades 3 to 8, but really it's very broad, and I'll be speaking about that a bit later. So I don't want you to think that it's really only for the 3 to 8. We did want to put a range in there, but it is really easily adaptable to a much wider age range. If you haven't heard of Hands-On Media yet, I'm really excited for you to learn a little bit more about what we do. But before I get into that, I want to give a little outline of what we're going to do today. So I'm going to give a bit of a background on myself and my work, and also the mission of Hands-On Media Education. I'm going to get a little bit into the 2 flagship workshops that we offer across Canada: iPad animation and iPad digital storytelling. And then we're going to get into what is Home at School. And kind of just, I'm going to give you a little demonstration of it and what you can expect. And we also have a guest here, Sheila from the Lester B. Pearson School Board in Montreal, and she was a collaborator consultant on this project, and I'm very excited to introduce her to you as well. We're going to get into just how you can access it. This is an open education resource, which means this is free for you to use. We're very dedicated to providing media education resources for free for teachers and students, because it is a human right. This is not a luxury anymore, or a privilege in understanding how media is made. We really do want to empower everyone to learn these really important and critical media and digital literacy skills. And we don't want any kind of financial barrier to get in the way of that. The open education world is also, it's a new world for me to dive into, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. This seems to be the really beautiful side of the internet, where people are sharing information and knowledge together to make the world a better place, frankly. The more I learn about it, the more I'm inspired by it, and I'm sure that this will be the first of many open education resources that we develop. We're going to get into a bit of a FAQ session as well. I have taught this workshop many times, and I am very happy to say that I've heard a lot of different really important questions and had a lot of great feedback. And so I'd like to share some of that with you. And also we'll describe how we can help you teach this in the classroom. As we know, a lot of teachers are on a wide spectrum of ease with using technology and digital literacy activities in the classroom. And so we want to make sure that you feel comfortable doing this. So we're here for you. And then a thank you. I'll leave my contact information. If you have any questions, we really want this to be a free-flowing opportunity for you to feel supported and comfortable and excited about incorporating digital literacy into your classroom. So let us begin. So, okay, A bit of background. So I have been a media educator for over 15 years. I've kind of lost track of how many years. I started in the Yukon teaching students. It was a summer camp. I was teaching media, a video camp, and it was my first foray into it, and I was hooked. Before that, I was a filmmaker myself, and I really loved working with children and providing an opportunity for them to make movies and share their own stories. That was a long time ago, and it's been a wild ride. I did a master's in media production. My master's thesis was teaching teenage girls across Canada media literacy, feminism, and media production as a way to provide opportunity for storytelling and learning critical thought. It was a very, very powerful trip for me and the two interns that were on the trip as well. We went from Victoria to St. John's, Newfoundland, stopping every weekend in a new community and teaching a new group of teenage girls these really important lessons. And we learned so much. It was massive for me personally and professionally. I finished and went right into the National Film Board's education department and started leading some, not leading, I started as a part-time workshop facilitator, teaching digital literacy workshops, which were really great, and started doing more work with them, changing roles, moving up, and in 2015, the program was cut from the National Film Board, and I started hands-on media education. And since then, it has been just an incredible journey of teaching digital literacy workshops to students and teachers across Canada and internationally. And what's so exciting is that in the last 2 years, we've incorporated as a nonprofit, which is super exciting. And now we have a board, and there's a lot of cool opportunities that are happening, and we're increasing our impact in big ways, which is really exciting to me. But the reason I say this is that I've been teaching stop motion animation for many years, and what is so beautiful about this workshop is how universally appealing it is. Animation, we're going to get into it, but animation really is not difficult to do. You need a little bit of setup. It's a very easy to execute workshop, but it's rich with pedagogical value, rich with critical development skills, rich with digital literacy skills. It's rich with storytelling and team building and problem solving. It's engaging to the maximum as a blended learning activity. And at the end of the day, you're creating magic. And so there's just this beautiful appeal. It's one of the workshops. I've taught a lot of different types of media workshops, but this workshop is just the guaranteed hit. It's a guaranteed hit. I I can't believe I can say that, but it's true. It's just one of these things that is just magical. It works. It's just such a great exercise and activity to do with your students, and it's full of so much pedagogical value, and I'm just so excited to share it with you. This is a little summary of the amount of workshops that we've delivered across Canada since starting Hands-On Media. So we've worked in 75 Canadian communities, delivering 452 workshops with 16,000 students, almost 17,000, and almost 2,000 teachers. It's been busy. It's been very, very busy, and our shift to virtual workshops has really increased our impact. And we're really experimenting with trying to really maintain the integrity of the educational value of the workshops that we have been delivering in person, translating that to an online space. And we've had some really great success with that. So yeah, this is hands-on media. So the mission of hands-on media is to equip students, educators, parents, and organizations with the skills they need to access, understand, critically evaluate, and create digital media in order to navigate and participate fully in a rapidly evolving online media environment. One very kind of visual analogy that I like to use when it comes to media education and digital literacy is that if we had a student or a child that wanted to learn how to swim or drive a car, for example, we would want to give them lessons. We would want to guide them at first. We would want to supervise them. We want to make sure that they felt comfortable and that they learned the rules of the road for driving, for example, or they felt comfortable swimming, especially in the deep end, on their own before we step away entirely and let them be an independent learner, for example. But with the internet and media, it's often not approached the same way. We kind of just hope it works out. A lot of students are getting access to devices and tools without the guidance that is frankly required and should be mandatory. And the simple reason is a lot of parents and teachers don't quite know how to do that. A lot of teachers feel a little bit ill-equipped to know how to navigate those lessons. And so this is where we come in. We really want to help provide that support for everyone and to really inspire digital citizenship. Digital citizenship is what we hope that everyone can be, an active member of the digital space that is using technology and the internet for maximum potential and causing minimal harm. We all know there's a lot of consequences with online activity, and we just want to be careful that students aren't in harm's way, right? That's basic. And so through our workshops, that's what we're trying to inspire, a digital citizenship. It's not a shying away from it. It's really an embracing the potential, but knowing when to take a break, for example, knowing the rules of the internet, not stealing content, not using music that we don't have permission to use, being careful with who we're representing when we're telling stories about other people. There's a lot to it. And the next slide is about digital citizenship a little bit. If you don't know anything about it, I really encourage you to learn as much as you can about it as a teacher. There's a lot of this is a new world. And I think we need to have patience with ourselves and compassion. We can't expect to know every single thing, but I hope that you are inspired to learn a bit. And this activity is really a wonderful way to learn about digital literacy with your students. The third thing here is we're really trying to inspire people, not just students, but everyone, to shift from passive consumption of media to active creation. There is such a kind of a concerning trend where people are looking on their phones and they're just watching content without engaging with it, without thinking about what they're consuming. It has the danger of getting into, for lack of a better word, kind of brainwashing, if you're just watching stuff without thinking about it. We really want to kind of shift that to let's create, let's share our own stories. And there is no better way to understand how media is made than to make it ourselves and to really understand the power of, for example, music. When we add it to an animation that we've made. So the next slide is about digital literacy and digital citizenship a bit. I don't want to go too much into it because we're already 15 minutes into this, but there are some really important elements of digital citizenship that we'd like to touch on in this workshop. And digital creation is a big one. Just because your student or child is on their phone does not mean that they're just passively consuming. There is a lot of really amazing creation, and TikTok is a perfect example. Of course, there's negatives to everything and every tool and app, but there is also a tremendous amount of creativity and just brilliance, honestly, with some of the TikTok videos that I've seen made by youth. I want to help teachers kind of be open-minded a bit to how students are submitting assignments. There's so much work that has to go into creating a TikTok often. All of the edits, all of the sound, the writing of it, some of them are so funny and insightful. So we're really hoping to kind of empower teachers and students with that as an option. But again, knowing the rules, right? Giving credit, for example, be responsible, know your footprint. If we're going to post this to a public account on TikTok, maybe you don't say your name, maybe you don't say where you live, maybe you don't give out your banking information. I mean, this is kind of basic, but some students don't quite have that natural instinct. So this is the iPad animation workshop that we've been delivering. And we have been doing it for elementary level students, adults, seniors, elders, special needs. We've done it in high schools. We've done it with alternative high schools as well. There's really no limit to how many, which age you're working with animation. And you're using an iPad. You can use it with Chromebooks. You can use it with a few other different setups. We're focusing on iPad animation for this workshop, Home at School, because it's just the easiest. There is no easier way to make an animation, in my mind, in a classroom than with iPads. I've done it many different ways. Everything is, we call in-house, quote unquote, where the camera app we use for taking the pictures with the app called Stop Motion Studio. So you're using, right, the camera is operating, and then when you can add music, you can add a title and credit. It's all in-house. So very similar to Home at School, the workshop begins with an introduction to media and digital literacy. We don't say that to the students, but we talk about animation and what is animation, how is animation is made. Then we get into pre-production, production, post-production, and the film festival at the end to wrap it all up. The curriculum alignment, there's many of them: English language arts, digital literacy, social sciences, visual arts. And it can be applied in other ways as well. I've had one teacher in New Brunswick used animation to help for the students to demonstrate the blood circulation system. Like, you can use it in different kind of creative ways. Also, history. Animation is a great way to recreate a historical moment in time. Doesn't have to be just a story that you've made up. Here's an example, and we're gonna show that example when I actually go through the Home at School. So, Home at School. This is what we've been waiting for. So, this was actually a textbook success program that I was a part of for 12 months. And it was put on by an organization called the Rebus Foundation, based in Montreal. And they led me and 17 other teams through the creation of an open education resource. It was really fun to learn about what other OERs people were working on, and to learn about the kind of the ethos of OER, open education resourcing, then dialing into how do we best design this from the cover to the actual elements, and for which audience. Our OER is a little bit unique in that we have half of the resources are teacher facing for you, the educator. for you to learn and have a bit of background information on where this came from and why it's so important, and also how to set up your classroom and how to use the resource, as well as we have accessibility ideas, and we have different examples of how this has been used in classrooms, other digital literacy resources. So those are all teacher facing. And then we have student facing content. So I'm going to give you a demonstration about it in a minute. Some of the people that were on the team that designed this with me and were very, very helpful. Sheila's on the call. I'm going to get to you, Sheila, in just a second. There was Michael McNally from the University of Alberta. He was a digital literacy consultant. Tammy Belhadge is a digital literacy and H5P consultant. Super great. I've worked with both of those people before. Matt Johnson from Media Smarts worked as a digital literacy consultant as well. Media Smarts is an amazing nonprofit based out of Ottawa that provides a lot of resources for teachers and parents on how to introduce and teach media and digital literacy with your students and children. Belinda Ongaro, she was our proofreader and graphic creator. We had some infographics that she made, and she took a good look at all the content as well. And we had Julia Guy as a proofreader as well. She's a digital projects librarian with University of Calgary. And we have Sheila and Susan from the Lester B. Pearson School Board. Sheila is a pedagogical consultant for EdTech, and she's been teaching for 27 years in the classroom. She works in Montreal on projects involving tech, digital citizenship, literacy, and so much more. So I'd like to welcome Sheila to the call.
Thank you, Jessie. I was super excited to meet Jessie and to get on board with Home at School. It's the kind of project that really spoke to me as a teacher. My MO with my students ever since, the internet was a baby was that they had to be creators and not just consumers, right? And a lot of, even in my own house, I have 4 teenagers, a lot of our arguments over screen time, etc., are rectified by becoming creators and balancing your time in that way. So for that reason and many others, I'm super excited for the teachers I work with to be involved with this project. Projects like this give your students a real world and authentic way to learn to use the tools that are available to them. And they're learning so much more than just the tools. Another thing I really love about it is how easily it ties into the curriculum. So for us in Quebec, it's the QEP, the Quebec Education Program. So this is not an add-on. It's not something extra that you'll be doing on the side, right? It actually ticks a lot of the boxes of the competencies that you are expected to teach or expected to engage in with your students. It's a beautiful product at the end of the story, but it's actually a process-driven activity that you'll be doing with your students. So while the film festival and the product itself are unparalleled, I think, and as an experience for students at that age, there are so many byproducts of that that your students will enjoy.
Thank you, Sheila. And your input was so valuable too, because you're able to speak not only as a teacher in the past as well, but as someone that's working with teachers and saying, like, they need this to be as easy as possible. Like they're to be a teacher now, especially like, we're hopefully past the worst of COVID. A lot of teachers are, I know. Exactly. a lot of teachers are tired and they don't have a lot of extra time to design their own lesson plan for this. It wasn't enough to kind of describe in broad strokes how iPad animation could be used and why it should be used. What I'm so excited about is the Google Slides that they can use directly with their classrooms right away. They don't have to make their own slides. It's already there. They will have to facilitate the workshop, of course. We can help with that. There's a really cool professional development opportunity there And I just really thank you for your input.
It's been a pleasure, and I'm so excited to see it in action.
Okay, so I'm going to get into that. This is it. So this is I'm going to be sharing the link in the YouTube description, so you can access this. You can enroll, and you can access this for free. And this is what it's going to be looking like. We decided to use the platform Thinkific. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but they have a lot of different online courses. And we found this one very user friendly. So this is how you would be viewing the resource. So there's a welcome, the hello and welcome. This is there's a video that we made, kind of describing a little bit about what you can expect and where it's coming from. There's an overview of hands-on media and what we do, and why I love this workshop so much. We have a few different graphics here just describing who this could be used with. I mean, it's so applicable to so many different people. Why this activity, right? Animation is the creation of magic. There's an article I wrote for the British Council called A Way to Teach Digital Media Literacy Through Creative Play here that you can access as well. Just kind of an overview, a bit more of why this is so great, and then some of the resources that you will have access to. So a classroom and equipment setup overview, accessibility and adaptability options, more digital literacy resources and contact information here. So once you read through this, then you go complete and continue. So then you get to this one. So this is how this works. So step 1, review the material. I really recommend you go through this yourself. If you have time, I would also recommend that you create an animation yourself. Try it out. It'll just give you a better ease of working with your students. Review the materials, then guide your students through this workshop. I'll show you the Google Slides that come next in chapter 1, 2, and 3. You can go through that with your students. There is a downloadable storyboard that we'd like your students to fill out in teams, right? And this is part of the pre-production phase. We'd love you to join our Facebook group, Home at School Animation Community, and we'd love to see the animations your students have made. This is such an exciting part of why students really like connecting with the outside world. It takes our classroom into a different level of we're able to get validation from others other than just our teacher and our immediate classmates. We're also going to be having some monthly themes of animations. So it's super fun. I mean, for example, Black History Month, Truth and Reconciliation, global warming, cyberbullying. There's different themes that are definitely available, and we're going to set up kind of some themes that I think are going to be really interesting, kind of little missions for your students to have a guide for their project. And we're also going to host a few different Facebook Lives. So you can meet with a media educator and learn if you have any questions about how to do this in a slightly different way, or if you have any ideas for us, we'd love to connect with you and just make sure, again, that you're feeling supported. And then once you've completed this workshop, you'll be sent a certification. You're going to be a hands-on media educator. So we're really hearing from teachers that micro-credentialing is really powerful for them and important. And so we're really happy to do that and supply that to you. Okay, so learning outcomes. This is, we don't need to go through every single point here, but I think it's really important for you to understand that there are a lot of really powerful learning outcomes and curriculum connections, like Sheila was mentioning. This is not an add-on. We want to really emphasize this. This is already linked to your curriculum. and you're doing it in a really fun way with your students. And you're coming across as a cool teacher. You're using technology in a fun way. Students love this, and they're going to love you for bringing this into your classroom. It's so great. So the workshop outline is there's an introduction to animation. There's pre-production, production, post-production, like I was mentioning before, and then the film festival. Here's an example of an animation made with your students.
Where am I? This one is there.
So just if you've never made an animation before, I just want to quickly let you know how it's done. So this iPad is set up on a tripod, and the app is open, Stop Motion Studio, and clay characters were built. The storyboard was already written out, and each character is moving just a little bit, the size of an ant, and an image is taken with the app. Move it again, photo taken. Move it again, photo taken. Move it again, photo taken. Over and over and over and over and over again. And when you play it back at a certain frame rate or speed, movement is created. It's the illusion of movement, right? And this is actually the secret to all video. Every video you're looking at on YouTube is just a collection of photographs being played back at a certain frame rate with small changes in between each. So the flip book, right, is a perfect example of animation. So you have a drawing, you repeat the drawing and make a small change over and over and over. It's very labor intensive. And then you get movement when you play it back at a certain speed. So this is the same, these are exactly the same principles applied to photography and moving these clay characters, right? Clay is so fun too. But you can use, we recommend clay, but you can also animate little figurines. You can animate objects, any object, right, that has no life, you can give it life through animation. So in this animation here, but there were 3 main characters that were being animated. There was a bit of advanced animation happening, which you can see some of the strings that were dangling the aliens as they came down. That's very hard to do because you're doing the same amount of small movement and then a photo. Move again, photo, move again, photo, over and over again, without getting your hand in the way. And then sound is added, sound effects, the soundtrack, their voice, then a title and the credits. So it's there's a lot to it, but it's incredible. The students just love it.
Hello, Kalasas. Okay.
So it's short. Like this is a 33-second animation that took, I would bet, the whole day, the whole school day. And when students ask, like, how long is the animation going to be? I try to really steer them away from concern about that, but more about, like, we just want to make sure that it's quality animation. Doesn't matter if it's this long thing. If the animation isn't quality, then it's not great. So complete and continue. We have the classroom setup here and equipment that you will need. So this starts with the storyboard, right? And then this is the setup. So if you don't need an iPad for each student as well, just to reiterate that, you only need 1 per team. And the teams are 3 to 5 students per team. The iPad's on a table or on a tripod, and then clay or Lego and backgrounds we have. You can get the students to make them. That's great, a great art activity for sure. And then you're ready to go. So Then you get into the Google Slides. So these are for you to use with your students. So there's a little bit of an outline for the students, and then we get into what does animation mean. We showed them a few different examples, right? The Lion King, that was hand-drawn animation, just like the flip book I showed you. Intensely labor-intensive, and so much work. So in the bottom right-hand corner is Toy Story. That is a computer animation, right? Computer generated, a lot easier to make, but doesn't have the same kind of visual look or feel of the hand-drawn. Wallace and Gromit is clay, and Lego Movie is a combination of stop motion with actual Lego characters and computers. So there's a lot of different things. It's not just cartoons. When students think of animation, cartoons are kind of the first thing that comes to mind. There's a lot more that can be animated. What do we see the most of today? So this is, you're walking your students through this together, and then getting into the flip book. So the first activity is a flip book. So they can do that with a actual notebook, with a Post-it notepad. You can do that. Kind of to get them kind of warmed up to the idea of what animation is. Then we get into pre-production. So this is when they are coming together as a team to decide on what their animation is going to be about. So they're going to choose their team. They're going to make a background or choose a background. And think about the scene. Is it a park? Is it a winter scene, right? Then that's going to impact what the characters are, who they are. They're going to fill out the storyboard here, and then they're going to build their characters. Once that's done and you've approved everything, then they get into the production. And so there's a video here where I demonstrate the production part. They're going to have a film crew. So one person will be a photographer. One person will be the director and make sure the storyboard is being followed. Then there's going to have at least 1 or 2 animators, and another role is set designer, just to make sure that everything is looking good and things aren't moving around too much. We only want the characters being moved. Okay, and then get into post-production. So this is the titles and credits and sound. Again, there's a video for that to show you how to do it. And then sharing our work, film festival. This is a really beautiful way to finish the workshop together. It also gives the students accountability. They need to finish this project because they don't want to look like the ones that didn't finish it. It's really nice to have that hard deadline. We'll usually make popcorn, and, you know, it's a fun, really fun opportunity for the students to not only celebrate others, but celebrate themselves. And they can also have a chance to public speak, right, about the experience. What was great about it? What was hard about it? What was their favorite part? And maybe there's another one they want to do. This is a great exercise in teamwork, honestly. Animations, you get some students that are just so gung-ho about this. They've never seen this kind of thing before. Here they go, and they just want full control. And it's a challenge. You're like, I get it. I see you. After this one, maybe you will make your own. But for now, we have to work as a team. And it's really beautiful when it all works out. So here are a few additional, this is in the back half of the resource. We have some additional media and digital literacy resources that you might find helpful. We have a case study here, and this is a teacher at Galileo Adult Learning Center in Montreal who used this activity. We did this workshop with her special needs adults and students, and you can go through this. She made this really great slide deck describing the experience for her and how great it was for her and her students. You can even see some examples of the student work on her YouTube channel here. We've got some adaptations and accessibility, aligning with other curriculum, digital storytelling, and designing accessible animations. This is just a really wide open activity that has so many different iterations of it that are possible. And then the credits and acknowledgements is who put this resource together and some copyright information. So that's it. That is Home at School. I cannot believe it's all ready to be shared. Okay, so let's go back to this. So that is Home at School. Here are a few FAQs. Again, people will often ask what kind of age groups are this for. We have set it for grades 3 to 8, but really it's for, I wouldn't go much younger than grade 3. We have taught it younger than grade 3, and you'll need an adult with each group if you go much younger than grade 3. Especially grade 1, kindergarten and grade 1, you'll need a volunteer or a parent at each station. The students aren't obviously able to do that much kind of independent animation by themselves. So, so yeah, grades 3 to 8 we have it for, but again, like we've done it successfully with high school students and alternative high school students, as well as CEGEPs, university, seniors, adults, teachers, of course, they love it. So that's the age. Themes, again, very open-ended. You can choose what the theme is about with your students. And we have the storyboard so very broadly broken down into beginning, middle, and end. So learning just the basic story arc. The engagement piece is simply because of the iPad and the tactile. Those two things together seem to be a kind of a magical combination. And then the co-taught version. So we will do this co-taught, and we do, where we'll do a teacher orientation virtually, and then we can speak with your students live, or we can send you recorded videos. It depends on what you need. But we're really happy to help co-teach this with you if you need that kind of support. And a lot of teachers do. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us. Are there any questions? Sheila, do you have any questions or last thoughts or comments? I'm gonna unmute you. Sorry. Unmute mic. Yeah.
There we go. I got it.
Yeah.
No, my final comments would just be to say how excited I am to see this out there and to see what your students are able to do. I think I don't think you will be surprised, but I think you will be excited to see what your students are able to produce.
Yeah, awesome. And to everyone else, I really hope that you are able to give us feedback. What's so cool about these online learning platforms is that we can adjust and adapt and edit at any time. So if there are some things that you feel are missing, we could add that. We really are wanting this to be the most effective open education resource and iPad animation that we can make it. So please don't be shy. We'd love to work with you on making this as great as it can be. If there are no other comments or questions, maybe we should wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sheila, for joining.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting.
Yeah. And thanks, everyone. Please follow us on our social media accounts and Hands-On Media. And we are really excited to work with you. Thank you. Bye.